It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
UAlbany men's basketball team gets a big win last night, 74-73. They beat NJIT at Sefcu Arena, and the reason why is somebody you may know.
Control the ball in the backcourt, tracked it down, got it to Cremo on the right side. Cremo crossover dribble, leans in with the right hand and scores.
Scotia native Joe Cremo, his coming out party at the collegiate level. He goes for 18 points. He helps the Danes to that 1-point win last night. And Joe Cremo, flat out, is now a budding star at University at Albany. He's only 6 games into his college career, and he is going to be a major reason why the Danes are going to have a good season. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. This Saturday after Thanksgiving, I'm your host, Brady Farkas. Hope you all had a great holiday. And it was a great holiday last night for UAlbany. The 1-point win, the Danes now 3-3 on the season. A couple of tough losses against Boston University and against South Florida. But Joe Cremo, the Scotia native, 18 points. And look, this kid, we all wondered how much he was going to play to start the season. We didn't know. He's a freshman. He's coming into a team that's been to 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments, and he's playing in a backcourt that has 3 all-conference players. So we wondered, hey, maybe 3 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. Well, he's playing 15 to 20 minutes already, and he's a guy that Will Brown he can't afford to have off the floor for too long. Joe Cremo, think about what he is doing. Think about what he's doing. Last night he had 18 points. He looked more comfortable at times than all-conference players like Peter Hooley and Ray Sanders. Ray Sanders had 15 points, most of which came in the second half. Cremo was taking his time in the first half. Hooley had 7 points. Peter Hooley had 7 points last night. He's your all-conference shooting guard. Joe Cremo's taking his minutes. Evan Singletary's your all-conference point guard, and now Joe Cremo was able to spell him and take his minutes and run the point as a true freshman at a Division I NCAA tournament team. And that's what makes Joe Cremo so good and so valuable, is he can do so many things. At 6'2", 6'3", he can handle the ball like a point guard. He can play point. He's got the leadership skills to run the offense. He's got the ability to shoot from the outside. Oh, Brady, we didn't see him shoot from the outside at Scotia. He didn't need to. Scotia didn't need him to shoot from the outside. They were beating everybody by 40. He can go down low. He's got good footwork. He's got good quickness. Joe Cremo can do it all, and he gives Will Brown plenty of options whenever he's on the floor. He attacked the basket last night. He got to the free throw line. He was 6 of 7 from the field. He doesn't turn the ball over. Joe Cremo has all the skills to be a valuable piece to this UAlbany team. And I think they're going to get back to the NCAA tournament. And I think you're going to watch Joe Cremo be on the floor for significant minutes all the way into March. All the way into March. And the other thing that separates Joe Cremo from everybody else is just his desire to win. This is Cremo after the game.
Control the ball in the backcourt, tracked it down, got it to Cremo on the right.
Nope, that's not Cremo after the game. We'll have to get the producers on that. But Joe Cremo hates to lose. Joe Cremo hates to lose. And you know that when he's on the floor, you're going to get that kind of consistent effort from him. Let's see if this one works. This is head coach Will Brown after the game.
You know, the thing with him is I know every day I'm getting an honest day's effort. And I think as a coach, win or lose, you feel good knowing that kid's on the floor and that he's on your team. And
there you go. You feel good knowing that Joe Cremo's on the floor. You know he's not going to beat you. You know he's only going to help you. So Joe Cremo, a major reason why UAlbany is having success early on. Only 3-3, but still, they've gone on the road at Kentucky. They've gone on the road at South Florida, 2 Power 5 conference teams. Kentucky, one of the best teams in the country, and Joe Cremo has helped them in every single way that he's been on the floor, and he was able to do it yesterday at home. Had a pretty big contingent there rooting for him, even though it was Thanksgiving. You know, you think over Thanksgiving, maybe the crowd's not going to be as big. The overall crowd was okay at UAlbany, but the Joe Cremo supporters were in full force last night. So he has done nothing but prove himself already. He will continue to do so. And our boy Zach Bai, who is the broadcaster for the UAlbany men's basketball team, he joined us earlier in the year before the season started, and he thinks Joe Cremo's ceiling is pretty darn high.
this kid is going to flat out be a star. And I have to temper my enthusiasm about him because I know him on a personal level and have been rooting for him since he's been about 8 years old. But if I were to pull back the curtain on that temperament, I would tell you that I think he's going to be one of the greatest players that's ever played at UAlbany.
I have to say I'm with him now. We're 6 games into the season, and I am all in on the Joe Cremo will be one of the best players in ever to play at UAlbany bandwagon. He can do it all. Think about what he's doing. He is a true freshman. He is taking minutes away from 3 all-conference players who are all seniors. He's doing that in his freshman year. Joe Cremo, he is a budding star at UAlbany, so make it over to Sefke Arena. Watch this kid play. He's a local kid that you should be proud of, the Scotia native who led the Tartans to back-to-back state championships. He's going to be leading UAlbany here for the next 4 years. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And it is Thanksgiving weekend, and it is that Saturday after Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is the time to reflect on all that we have to be thankful for, from our families to our significant others to our careers. And I'm thankful for the fact that I get to do this with you every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. But you, as the local sports fan, you as the Capital Region sports fan, have plenty to be thankful for. And over the next hour, I'm going to tell you what you have to be thankful for. And the #1 thing that you as a local sports fan have to appreciate is the Times Union Center. And Brady, why am I going to be appreciative of a building? Why am I going to be appreciative of a building? Well, the Times Union Center is the home of the Siena Saints. It's the home of the Albany Devils, the former home of the River Rats. It's where you get an opportunity to go watch top-flight Division I basketball. It's where you get a chance to go watch the future stars in the NHL. Where else can you do that? You can mix college and pro that way. Where else in the Capital Region can you do that? Nowhere. You've got to see Siena teams of the last 5-6 years get to the NCAA tournament, led by the Kenny Hasbrooks, the Edwin Ubelis, the Ronald Moores. Go to the NCAA tournament and represent the Capital Region well. You get to see those teams live there for multiple seasons. It's where you get to watch NCAA tournament action. I was there in 2003 when Syracuse won the title. They didn't win it at the Times Union Center, but their first 2 rounds were at the Times Union Center. Then it was the Pepsi Arena. I watched them play Auburn. I watched them play Oklahoma. Or it wasn't the first 2 rounds. It was the Sweet 16 and it was the Elite 8. That got them to the Final Four. You got to see Syracuse on their road in the Final Four. Last year alone, you got to go watch the NCAA Regional, the Sweet 16, the Elite 8. I got to go see Gino Auriemma and Brianna Stewart at UConn. Got to see them up close in person at the Times Union Center. That's the one of the most storied programs in women's sports that I got to go watch, and you got to go watch at the TU Center. You've seen the Frozen Four there. I remember watching, I think it was Harvard and Boston College was there, and Wisconsin several years ago. You get to go watch the NBA just a month ago. Just a month ago, we were watching the Sixers and the Nets at the Times Union Center, and we got to go see Jahlil Okafor. Now, Jahlil Okafor's gotten in some trouble in the last few days, but you still got to go see one of the top picks in the NBA draft. We got to see Joe Johnson play. He was one of the best scorers in the NBA. Where else can you do all of this? You get to see high school hoops there. You get to play high school hoops there if you're in high school. The Times Union Center is something that we in the Capital Region take for granted. It's something that we need to be thankful for. And when we reassess our sporting lives here in the Capital Region, the Times Union Center is something that needs to be valued and needs to be appreciated. So, again, we're going to tell you what you need to be thankful for all through the next hour. The next thing you need to be thankful for in the Capital Region, it's coming up at 9:25. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. High school football. We started off state title weekend last night, and it was not a good one for Section 2 as Greenwich loses in the Class C state title game to Chenango Forks. That a score of 42-7, and the Witches were down 21-7 after the first half. And for Greenwich, really, it came down to the running game. Chenango Forks now their 3rd straight New York State championship, 480 rushing yards on that Greenwich defense compared to just 156 for the Witches. And that's something Greenwich hadn't really seen before. Greenwich had been able to run over everyone they played here in Section 2 and beyond. They had pitched 4 shutouts going into that game. Pitched 4 shutouts this season. They had scored over 40 points in every game, but 2, they put up over 50 a number of times. And for Greenwich, it was just it was tough to get going here because the line for Chenango Forks was something that they were not used to. This was Zach Smith of Greenwich after the game to News Channel 9.
We finally found a defensive line that matched ours. I think we just bashed each other back and forth, and they just had a little bit more in them.
That's it. That's all it was. And in high school, remember, this isn't college. You're not recruiting players. You are what you are. You are what lives in your town. And Greenwich represented the Capital Region well. They didn't have enough to beat now the three-time state champions in Chenango Forks. But Smith also said, look, there's a whole lot to be proud of. Zach Smith, Greenwich player, after the game as well.
We're all very happy with how our season went. I mean, first undefeated team for a long time, first team to get sectionals, first team to ever come this far. We had a lot of firsts, and that's really meant a lot to us.
Absolutely, and it should. And Greenwich should be proud of themselves. The Capital Region should be proud of them. They are team 1 of 3 to take the field at the Carrier Dome and State Championship Weekend. Schuylerville in Class B will do it later this weekend. Saratoga will do it tomorrow as well. They're taking on Rochester Aquinas, one of the top teams in the country, nationally ranked number 23rd. So that'll be a tough matchup for the Blue Streaks. We'll get a prediction on that game at 9:40. So Saratoga and Aquinas, prediction coming at 9:40 in Class AA. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. The UAlbany men, they beat NJIT yesterday, but there's still a couple of things they need to do better. I'll tell you what that is next. UAlbany a winner last night at FQ Arena. They beat NJIT 74-73. The Danes now 3-3 on the year. And while UAlbany got a great performance from Joe Cremo, the local guy, 18 points, UAlbany still has some things that they need to address as they move forward. I still think UAlbany's going to the NCAA tournament if they're going to win the America East, but it's not going to be as easy as it was last year, that's for sure. UAlbany needs better inside play. They need better inside play. We wondered all along, all year, what this team would do without Sam Rowley. Now, you look at the roster and you say, Brady, UAlbany should be just as good as they were last year because they only lost one player. They only graduated one senior. They only lost one guy who was a real fixture in their rotation, and that was Sam Rowley. You're absolutely right. Sam Rowley was only one player, but he did so much for that team. Not only did he score double figures a game, the rebounding and the ability he had to finish around the rim, draw contact, get to the free throw line was huge as well. He was able to help ice games for UAlbany. He was able to extend leads for UAlbany. He was able to take momentum back for UAlbany by getting to the free throw line. And also, because Sam Rowley is so good in the low post, he was able to draw double teams, to force weak side defenders over to help. And when you do that, when you can draw that double team in the post, you can now kick out to open jump shooters. Open being the optimum word. Open jump shooters who have good looks at the hoop, who are able to take jumpers with confidence, with ease, in the constant flow of the offense. Right now, UAlbany is not getting that consistent scoring from the inside. Now, they don't have to replace Sam Rowley with one player. They're not trying to do that. Okay, but Will Brown's got a rotation of Mike Rowley, Sam's brother, Greg Steyer, the CBA graduate, Richard Peters, and then Travis Charles, the freshman. And last night, from those 4 players, UAlbany got a combined 14 points. Now, Steyer went down in the first 5 minutes of the game with a reported high ankle sprain. Hopefully he's okay because UAlbany needs him. UAlbany needs him. We'll see if he plays tomorrow on Sunday against Yale. We'll see what he's able to do, if he's able to go. But only 14 points from those 3 players, or from those 4 players, rather. Conversely, UAlbany got 51 points from 4 guards, from Cremo, from Evan Singletary, from Ray Sanders, and from Peter Hooley. So those 4 guards outscored the 4 big men 51-14. 51-14, the guards outscored the big men yesterday. If UAlbany is going to be successful this year, they need a better inside-outside balance. UAlbany is not shooting well from the outside. They are not shooting well from the three-point arc. 4 of 16 yesterday. They went 3 of 20 against South Florida. 3 of 20 against South Florida. The first 2 games against Kentucky and VU, a combined 2 of 27. So really, you take out the game against Colgate, in which they made 12, and then the game against Division III Oneonta, and UAlbany in 4 of their 6 games has shot incredibly poor from the outside. Part of the reason why is because when you can't get the ball inside consistently to scorers or to guys who have to be doubled on the interior, those three-pointers, they're taken under duress. They're taken under stress. They're not part of the flow of the offense. UAlbany is not creating a ton of good looks from the outside because the inside play has not been there enough. Now, those guys have plenty of potential. We're only 6 games into the season. We're only 6 games into the season. So this is not how it's going to be in March, I'm sure of it. But Mike Rowley, Greg Sire, Richard Peters, and Travis Charles, if they can start to score with more consistency, then they can draw double teams. They can kick out to open jump shooters. And when you can kick out to open jump shooters, you get the defense running. Now you can slash. Now you go inside. You get the ball back to the big man. You get to the foul line. And that opens up your whole game. That's what Sam Rowley did. And that's what UAlbany is struggling with early on in this 2015-16 season. I think UAlbany is going to be fine. But if they're going to be successful, they need to find that inside-outside balance. UAlbany cannot have it where their 4 guards outscore their 4 big men 51-14. They cannot have that. UAlbany is a guard-oriented team, but that balance has to be better. And UAlbany's got to create better chances for their outside for those shooting numbers to improve by getting better inside play. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. Over this holiday, RPI, the engineers, they're not home with their families on Thanksgiving. They're they're out in Notre Dame right now playing in a tournament. They beat Western Michigan yesterday. They're going to take on number 8 Harvard today in the tournament championship. And we've got RPI hockey coach Seth Appert with us here on the phone. And coach, you're unbeaten in your last 9 games. It's a season of giving thanks, and there's a lot to be thankful for at RPI, isn't there?
Yeah, hey guys, how we doing? Thanks for having me on. It's we had a good, it's a good month, obviously, and certainly a lot to be thankful for. And we've had a great trip out to Notre Dame. Chris Bradley, our captain, his family had us over in Buffalo for Thanksgiving dinner, and then we completed the trip on Thursday in Notre Dame. Had a
Coach, you're with your team through the holiday, and what's that like? What's that team bonding like? What's that camaraderie like here being on the road together during the holidays?
We're kind of used to it, I mean, it's just you spend a lot of holidays together as a college hockey team, and, definitely Thanksgiving. I don't think I've spent, Thanksgiving with my, family in, 25 years. Usually, you're on the road and you're playing, and, even in youth hockey, you're playing in tournaments and stuff like that. So just kind of it's the culture of our sport a little bit. And we talk about, being a family. It's one of our core values in our program. And, and it gives you an opportunity to act on it and spend some time together. And the Bradleys having us over was unbelievable. I mean, that's just it's an incredible amount of work to host the amount of players that we have, and so you're talking about bringing 30 people into your home and cooking meal for them, and it was just pretty, really special. That's kind of a tradition that some of our older parents had started. Families like the Brutlog family and the Schrader family and Scotty Diebold's family, Nick Balin's family, all in the past have had the team over, and it was great to see the Bradleys continue that.
RPI hockey coach Seth Appert with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Engineers unbeaten now in their last 9 games. They beat Western Michigan yesterday 4-1. You beat New Hampshire earlier in the week. And coach, you're out in this tournament now at Notre Dame. What are the goals here that you're looking to improve on here as you step out of conference?
I want to win the tournament. I mean, that's we certainly always are trying to work on things and improve things. But at the end of the day, we're here to win. For us. We want to be real focused on our process, the process that we're trying to follow to be a great team. We've talked all year, even during this stretch of wins, that we're not a great team right now. We're a pretty good team right now, and we want to become a great team by February, March, so we can play in April. And the only way you do that is by sticking to your process and having the will to get a little bit better day to day.
Coach, you guys, you keep mentioning the word process, and I know you and I have talked off air before about you guys working with sports psychologist Brian Kane, and as a guy that I know and have worked with also, And I tell everyone in this building about what a difference I think that kind of thing can make. And they all think that I'm crazy. Does working with Kaner, does that give you a good advantage?
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know what other teams do. I just know, and I don't really worry about what they do. I worry about what we do, and I know he helps us. So, is it an advantage? I'm not sure over other programs. I know he helps us. I know he helps our guys. I know he helps me. I know he's helped my process, and he's helped me with my approach towards the team and trying to get our guys ready mentally and physically. And, I think with anything, it's all what you put into it. And I don't think all of our guys are religious at it, but I bet, we have 50% to 60% that are religious with it. I bet we have 75 to 80 that do it. And so, yeah, I believe it's helped, and it's allowed us to focus on what we can control, which is something I always preach anyway. And it's always good to have somebody else who's very good at what they do, sending similar messages to your team that the coach sends. Because, they can get tired of hearing my voice. I'm on them about a lot of things, not just hockey, but how you represent the program and academics and all these other things. And as much as you can get that reinforced by somebody else that they respect, I think that really helps in the end.
RPI hockey coach Seth Appert with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Engineers unbeaten now in their last 9 games. They'll take on number 8 Harvard today in the tournament championship at 4 o'clock out in Notre Dame, out in South Bend, Indiana. Coach, congratulations on a great season to this point. Good luck again today, and happy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed the holiday as well.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, Coach. Thank you. RPI. Under 500 the last 2 years, now unbeaten in their last 9 games. They're out of conference right now, 4-0-2, though, in the ECAC. When they get back to ECAC play, they're going to take on Dartmouth, and they're going to have a chance to extend that lead in the standings. And RPI, this tournament could be something that they're using to prepare for a possible NCAA tournament run. That story coming at 9:45. So Seth Appert, again, thanks to you for joining us, and his team certainly playing well. And look, Union won the national title 2 years ago. It'd be good to see RPI get back to a point where they're a player in the conference and where they're a player in the national stage. So for Coach Appert and his bunch, it's a job well done so far, but still much more to go here in this season. Capital Region Sports Saturday. The season of giving thanks continues. Thanksgiving weekend, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed turkey. Hope the tryptophan has worn off, and hope that you're wide awake here with us this morning. What you need to be thankful for as a Capital Region sports fan. There's a lot to be thankful for, and if you haven't stopped to think about it, this is the week to reflect on all you have, all the great things that this Capital Region provides to us, whether it be teams who do well, individual players who do well, great venues. This area has a lot to offer when it comes to sports, and one of those great things that you had a chance to see for the last 4 years was Lyle Thompson. Lyle Thompson, the lacrosse player who started at the University at Albany. This guy is the Heisman Trophy winner of the lacrosse world. He won the Tewaaraton Award, which is the lacrosse Heisman Trophy. He won it 2 years in a row. He's the first ever male to do that. First ever male to win the Heisman Trophy of lacrosse, the Tewaaraton Award, 2 times. You got to see a guy who played the game for the right reasons. Lyle Thompson, a Native American, played the game for a higher calling, played it for his people, and represented his people well and represented the University at Albany well. And on the field, he took the Danes to back-to-back NCAA quarterfinal appearances. UAlbany playing against Notre Dame in the NCAA quarterfinals. Lyle Thompson helped get UAlbany there. And if you didn't go see it, you should have. You should have. You should be thankful that Lyle Thompson, perhaps the greatest college lacrosse player of all time, played right here in Albany. You had a chance to see it for 4 years. He's the NCAA's all-time leader in points scored with 400. He's an All-American. He's got the top 2 single-season point seasons in college history. 128 2 years ago, 121 a year ago. Lyle Thompson, one of the best lacrosse players of all time at the college game, now has translated his game to the pro game, has translated his game to the international game, where he's played for his Native American nation at the World Lacrosse Championships. Lyle Thompson is one of the faces of lacrosse, and he was one of the faces of the Capital Region in the last 4 years. And watching him play, if you were fortunate enough to go do it, is one of the things that you need to be thankful for, just like me, thankful to host this show, which is brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And at Mohawk Honda, they strive for perfection every day by providing the most impeccable customer service, because that's the key to any success. And Mohawk Honda, they try to do things right all the time for their entire family of customers. Yes, they have over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles available. Yes, they're open extended hours for you in all of their departments. Yes, you can shop over 10 acres of savings opportunities, or if you don't want to do that, you can go online 24/7 at MohawkHonda.com. And yes, they will provide you the lowest, no-hassle prices to better suit your budget. Look, a business can have all of that, but without providing the customer with the professional service experience they've always been looking for, nothing else matters, because you deserve it. At Mohawk Honda, they have over 180 trained automotive experts going above and beyond to make sure all of your needs are met. So shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the #1 automotive family at Mohawk Honda, where they always go out of their way to please you. Joe Cremo, he plays at UAlbany. He's playing well. He doesn't play at Scotia anymore. Is their run of dominance over in Section 2? Steve D'Agostino, one of the best voices of basketball in all the area, he joins us next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
And we are back. High school basketball. We've got games today. And now we're on the phone with Steve D'Agostino, local legend, played at Guilderland, starred at St. Rose, went and played professionally in Europe. Now he's back as one of the top basketball trainers in the area. Dags, hey, I know you're working with almost everyone, so who's impressed you so far as we head into 2015-16?
Yeah, I mean, we've got our usual suspects that we've worked with. The highest level team probably being the Shen boys and girls varsity teams. We had a couple up and coming teams as well. Colony, who got a couple kids back, Green Tech, that are 10th graders. They'll be doing pretty well again this year too. But it's funny because we train, like you said, a lot of players, most of the players in the area. And now's the time where they separate. They go through AAU season and they're getting hyped up, and this kid's this and this kid's that. And now's the time, and I tell all these guys, you work so hard. The only thing that really matters is what you do in a game. So, it's as much as they're excited to start playing, I'm excited to see them play and see which ones really separate themselves from the pack, and who really brings it this year.
Now, I think I asked you back in maybe it was about May or June where Kevin Herter was going to go, and you said you thought Notre Dame was going to be in that type of conversation. It turns out you were dead on in that. He ends up committing to Maryland. Just what makes him so special? What makes that a good fit?
I mean, if you just take the fact that it's Kevin Herter and he's from this area, right? If you take that whole thing out of the equation, you say, hey, I got a 6'6" point guard who shoots the ball extremely well. And the best part of his game is that he finds players in open spots and his great passing and vision. People are going to say, wow, that kid's a high major player. And they might go a step beyond and say, hey, that kid, if he figures it out, has a chance to play in the NBA. So I tried to, in the beginning, I tried to take out, okay, it's Kevin Herter, he's from Shenandoah, and thought of it that way. 6'6", shoots the ball very well, controls the pace of the game, and has great vision. That's a high major player.
Steve D'Agostino at Dags Basketball on Twitter with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. So, Dags, it's probably a foregone conclusion then that Kevin Herter's the best player in the area this year. Who are the guys that are just a notch below him that we're going to be hearing about? Is it a guy like a Hamir Wright from Albany Academy?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Hamir Wright. Mike Wynn had a good AAU season from CBA. Sloan Seymour as well. From CBA. I mean, Sloan, I'm pretty sure, is probably going to be a high major player as well. 6'8", shoots the ball really well. The stretch four is a commodity in college basketball now, so I think he'll be getting some big-time offers. A guy that probably people haven't heard about, Isaiah Mull from Colony, a 10th grader, played at Green Tech last year, 6'4", shooter. I know a couple colleges, Division I, off the record, like him a little bit. So it'll be exciting to see how he performs this year as well.
What's next for Scotia without Joe Cremo? What's next for the Tartans? Does this run of dominance continue?
I love it. I mean, they've had, and we've been with Scotia for like 4 or 5 years, and everyone's like, oh, man, Scotia's going to stink this year. Well, they're definitely not going to be as good as they've been the last 2 years. No team is probably ever going to be that good, but it's great to see some of their young guys get a chance to get on the court and play. And I think, personally, I think they're going to return to, if we had Zach By on right now, he'd give you the stat of how many times Scotia's won like 15 games in like 15 years in a row or something like that. And I think they'll return to that. I think they'll figure it out in the foothills. They'll be in the top 4 there, and then when sectional times comes, hopefully their younger guys have figured out the varsity level, and hopefully they can make a little bit of a run. But teams like Amsterdam are going to be pretty good this year.
Does it impress you what Joe Cremo's doing already at UAlbany? I mean, look, he's playing 15 to 20 minutes already for a team that's got 3 all-conference guards and has been to the NCAA tournament 3 years in a row. What do you think of when you hear that?
Yeah, and we knew that going in, right? So Joe and I, he's been working out with our other trainer, Shaver Mersky, all summer, too. They've been getting in the gym, and we've talked about all that stuff as, hey, there's not a lot of minutes, and whatever way you can get on the court, you can. But it's funny with Joe. It's this is like the lack of vision that people have is, with Scotia, he played a lot in the post. And so when people ask him, oh, man, he's a post player, I'm like, well, no, he's not a post player. He's a guard. Well, he doesn't make threes. He's a great shooter. Scotia doesn't need him to make threes. And then, like, well, what's he going to play at UAlbany? He's going to play point guard because he can pass the ball, he can handle, and he can control the game. And sure enough, he's playing point guard now. So, nothing with Joe ever surprised me because he's such a hard worker. So I think, UAlbany's figured out that anytime they can get him on the court, it's a good thing. And I think it's a good thing for Joe because I always tell him that they played in a utopia at Scotia. Everybody got along. They won a ton of games. It's great for him to experience some of these different things where, now he's got to fight through a little adversity. He's not going to have a great game every night. And, he's doing a great job.
Steve D'Agostino with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, getting you ready for the high school basketball season. We've got games today. And, Dags, when we talk about small schools, last year we had Joel Winkowski at Lake George who broke Jimmer Fredette's all-time Section 2 scoring record. Who's a small school guy who's off the radar from the guys we usually talk about that we should be excited about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
We've got Lufkin up at Argyle.
Yeah, I think he's a given. Chris Butcher as well. He had a great year last year. He had like 30 points a game. He had a couple games with 50. They'll both be battling against each other. Lufkin. I think Lufkin's going to be really good too. Joe Girard. It'll be interesting to see how he keeps progressing. I mean, he had a great year last year. I know Glens Falls is an A, but there's a lot of guys who can put the ball in the basket. And for me, just looking from like a training aspect, and we get a lot of college coaches calling us and asking about guys. It's really about their progression. So, I want to see, is Joe Girard going to transfer over and really be able to be a point guard? Because at the next level, he's a point guard. He's got to be able to pass the ball and control pace of the game. Same thing with Lufkin and Butcher and some of those other guys as well. And then there's a kid from Amsterdam who I haven't worked out, but I've heard really good things about Corey Berg, who's supposed to be pretty good as well.
Steve D'Agostino, everything you need to know about Section 2 hoops and the local hoop scene at Dags Basketball on Twitter. Dags, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. You too. We'll catch up soon.
Absolutely, Dags. There he goes. And Steve D'Agostino, again, a local legend. Played at Guilderland, was a star there, went to St. Rose as an all-world player for the Golden Knights, and then goes and plays pretty successfully over in Europe for a while. Again, he's working with some of the top players and some of the top teams in the area. He's worked with Shen, a state champion. He's worked with Scotia, a state champion. So we love to get his perspective whenever we can. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Well, we just went from the hardwood. We go back to the gridiron now, and there's been a lot of talk about Iowa in the college football playoff rankings. Do they deserve their number 4 ranking? Well, a Section 2 product, he says that, or his play shows that they do. Jordan Canzeri, Troy High School native, yesterday, Troy High School grad, as Iowa beats Nebraska, a big day for the local product.
First and 10, 32-yard line. Tie-dye for the Hawkeyes. Canzeri is the tailback. And Jordan gets through the hole on the left side. Turns the corner. Look out. 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Put it in the bag. It's a touchdown, Iowa. Jordan Canzeri. A lightning strike twice. Canzeri. Turkey stuffed one right down the field. And the Hawkeyes have the double-digit lead back.
Turkey stuffed one down the field. Jordan Canzeri, well, that was from 68 yards. And then for good measure, he threw in one of these as well.
Out of a tight eye, make it Pleva the blocking back. They're going to run Jordan to the wide side. On a cutback, gets through a hole. Great block by Pleva. And Kanzuri's loose. He's going to take it to the house. Touchdown. Touchdown, Iowa. The Hawks will the running game on the Huskers.
Jordan Kanzuri, 2 touchdowns yesterday, 17 carries, 140 yards, and Iowa beats Nebraska 28-20. And the Hawkeyes are going to get their chance to play in the Big Ten title game. Could be Michigan State. We've got a big game between Ohio State and Michigan today, so their opponent not yet known. But Iowa's going to get a chance to cement themselves in this college football playoff. And Jordan Kanzuri, a local product, Troy High School, is a guy you might start to see on the national stage. He is a bowling ball on that field. He is running over everybody. He's got nearly 1,000 yards this season, 964 to be exact. He does that despite missing, I believe, 2 games and most of a third, as he injured his ankle at some point in a game against Northwestern. So Kanzuri helped lead Troy High to prominence here in Section 2, and now he's got Iowa vying for a spot to play for a national championship. So certainly something we will keep our eyes on. Season of giving thanks. What else do you, the Capital Region sports fan, have to be thankful for? Well, you should be thankful for the Tri-City ValleyCats, because you have an option to go see guys who are going to be future Major League stars every time you're at Joe Bruno Stadium. You go there, you go to the ValleyCats and you think, well, this is low-A ball. How many of these guys really make it? Well, not many of these guys make it, but the ones that do, the ones that you get a chance to see right at the beginning of their career, they have the chance to go on to be stars. Look at Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel was an American League All-Star. He beat the Yankees. I know everyone's mad about it. He beat the Yankees in the wild card game, but left-handed pitcher, wins the Cy Young this year, 2-time straight Gold Glove winner. He started his career for the Tri-City ValleyCats. Jose Altuve, the Astros second baseman, last year's AL batting champion, last year's AL stolen base leader, a Major League All-Star, Tri-City ValleyCat. George Springer, one of the top young outfield prospects in all of baseball, Tri-City ValleyCat. And it goes on and on. A.J. Reed, Astros minor league player of the year. He'll be a major leaguer. ValleyCat. Joe Musgrove, minor league pitcher of the year. ValleyCat. So every time you go to see the ValleyCats, you have a chance to see somebody really, really special take the field. And you should be thankful for that every time you go to Joe Bruno Stadium. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And you can ask, anytime you talk to Mohawk Honda, ask them about their Mohawk Exchange program through their Mohawk Exchange specialists, because they can assist you in upgrading your current vehicle to a newer one with no money down for the same or lower payment. Please ask for Tiffany, Katie, or V-Day to see just how easy it is to exchange your vehicle for the same or lower payment. If new isn't for you, we inventory over 300 of the highest quality pre-owned vehicles, all at one low, below market value, no hassle price. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the #1 automotive family at Mohawk Honda, where they always go out of their way to please you. High school football, Saratoga taking on Rochester Aquinas. Do the Blue Streaks have a shot to win the Class AA title? We'll break it down next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
High school football state finals tomorrow. Saratoga representing Class AA out of Section 2 taking on Rochester Aquinas, the number 23 team in the nation. Everything you need to know about that matchup, it comes from the Times-Union. So Saratoga 10-0 and Aquinas, well, again, number 23 in the nation. Number 23 in the nation, that tells you pretty much everything that you need to know. One of the top programs in the entire country. James Allen of the Times-Union. Will Saratoga win this game? What's his prediction?
This is when the pins go in the James Allen voodoo doll a lot when you don't pick Section 2 teams. And as good and as solid as Saratoga's been all year long, it is just hard for me to overlook the opponent. And Aquinas is a nationally ranked team, and that's not for no reason. I don't like the fact that they didn't play well against Liverpool last week. I really think they've kind of put it on cruise control. And a team of this caliber, you cannot do that against Saratoga in order to win the state championship. But I think they'll raise their level. They open the year at the Carrier Dome. I think they'll end the year in the Carrier Dome the way they did in 2013 with a state championship.
So he's calling for Saratoga to go down. If the Blue Streaks are going to win, they're going to need a performance from Dakota Harvey. Dakota Harvey, who spent 4 years playing varsity football, one of which was at Albany Academy. They need him to get going on the ground. They need Brian Williams. They need to run that option. They need to hit some passes. Saratoga doesn't pass the ball a ton. don't pass it a ton. They prefer to run it with Harvey. They're going to need a performance from both of them, and then that defense is going to have to come up clutch, and much in the way that it did against Shaker in the Section 2 final and the way it did against New Rochelle last week in the state semifinal. So Saratoga taking on Aquinas tomorrow in the Class AA final. Greenwich went down last night in Class C. We've also got Schuylerville taking on or playing in Class B, and I think Schuylerville's got the best chance to win a Section 2 title from all the teams, or a state title from all the teams here in Section 2. Coach Bowen and his crew going to run that hybrid flex wishbone, and I think they've got a good chance at bringing home a state title here to Section 2. RPI hockey unbeaten in their last 9 games. They're out in a tournament right now. They're taking on Harvard today, who's number 8 nationally. They're taking on them at 4 o'clock. They win yesterday against Western Michigan, and this tournament could be a prep for the NCAA tournament. Seth Appert after last night's win.
We got a lot of work to do to put ourselves in positions like that later down the road, but you want to treat these situations like that, that they're single elimination. If you want to win a championship, you have to take care of business on the first night.
So he's using this tournament as a blueprint for a possible NCAA tournament. You go against an opponent that you're not that familiar with. You're playing it at odd times. You don't know who you're playing. So they're going to take on Harvard today with less than a full day to scout. They've seen one game of Harvard here in person to scout them. So, hey, you're right, Seth Appert. This could be a blueprint for the NCAA tournament. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. High school hoop starts today. High school hoop starts today. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. On the phone right now, John Karbowski, athletic director at Northville High School. And John, we've got high school hoops on deck today over at Fulton Montgomery Community College. But, hey, it's a lot bigger than just opening weekend here for you guys out there at FMCC. Tell us what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. We are holding a Western Athletic Conference boys varsity basketball coaches versus cancer tip-off classic. All games are going to be held at Fulton Montgomery Community College. We have 10 schools that are going to be participating, 7 Western Athletic Conference schools, and then 3 schools outside of our league. So 5 games total. Games start at 12:30 and run all the way through 7:30 at night, and all proceeds from the day are going to be donated to the American Cancer Society.
Now, you guys have done this for a couple years running, correct?
Yes, this is our 3rd year, and it's grown a little bit every year. The first year we had 6 schools, so we had 3 games. Last year we had 8 schools and 4 games, and this year we have the 10 schools and 5 games. So it's gotten a little bit bigger every year, and then again, we're all proceeds from the day are going to the American Cancer Society. So we're hoping we can each year make this a little bit bigger and raise as much money as possible for American Cancer.
John, what about if people are out of town and can't make the games? Can people still donate to the American Cancer Society through you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be something. I run this each year, so they could contact me at the school at Northville. I can give you my phone number. It's 518-863-7000, extension 4111. Or if they go to our school website at Northville, there's email links through that. So absolutely, if they can't make it out to the games on Saturday, obviously we'd love to have them there to support the kids, especially early in the year with the tip-off classic. But if they can't, obviously they can certainly make a donation to the American Cancer Society. And this is something that, when we look at, the stats and things like that, when you see a stat, 14 million people worldwide that have cancer, 8 million people dying each year globally from the disease. When you see those types of stats, and we all know people who have been affected in one way or another by cancer, it's a great cause, and we want to raise as much money as possible.
John Karbowski, Northville High School Athletic Director with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. It is opening weekend. Tip-off tournaments abound here high school hoops season. We've got the Coaches versus Cancer Classic out at Fulton Montgomery Community College being put on by the Western Athletic Conference. And, John, you've been running this, you said. What's made Northville want to champion this cause and take ownership of this?
Yeah, we had always done, a Coaches versus Cancer Day, or maybe even one year we did it as a week with our basketball programs. And we raised, we were able to raise a decent amount of money, but we just thought if we could get more schools involved and more people to come to our games to support the kids, but also to support the Cancer Society, that we figured the more schools involved, the better event it would be and the more money we could raise. With that being said, 2 years ago, I had a 2-year starter basketball player who was actually diagnosed with Burkitt's lymphoma. And that was his senior year. So it was something that kind of hit close to home with us a little bit. And, obviously, after that happened, we wanted to kind of raise as much money as possible for the American Cancer Society.
Unbelievable story, and we see that all the time. Just another instance of the Capital Region doing it right in Section 2 athletics, representing some of these great causes well. And Coach, shifting just to a basketball situation here, you got 7 teams from your league in this tournament. It's going to be a great chance just to be around some great competition, and I'm sure these games are going to be pretty competitive with all these guys that know each other so well.
Yeah, and that's kind of the fun part of it. The kids can come together and not only, play their first game of the season, but it also gives them an opportunity to, play for a bigger cause, and it is a lot of schools and a lot of the coaches familiar with each other, so it should be a really fun day. The schedule, we have 12:30 p.m. we have Salem versus Burnox, Westerlo, 2:15 p.m. Northville versus Sharon Springs, 4 p.m. Wells versus Fort Plain, 5:45 p.m. Mayfield versus Middleburg, and then the nightcap at 7:30 p.m. Schoharie versus Oppenheimer Freitas St. Johnsville. So, like you said, a lot of schools that are familiar with each other, a lot of schools that are around each other. So this should be a really great day of basketball.
John Karbowski, Northville High School Athletic Director, with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, getting you ready for the Coaches versus Cancer Tip-Off Classic being held at Fulton Montgomery Community College, starting in just a few hours. 5 basketball games on tap here, helping us get ready for the Section 2 season. John, thanks for being with us. Thanks for all the work that you do here with this great community event outside of just great basketball. And hopefully, basketball-wise, we're talking to you or some Northville representatives come February or March, all right?
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, John. There he goes. John Karbowski, Athletic Director, Northville High School. Coaches versus Cancer Classic. We see things like this all the time in Section 2. It seems like just weeks ago that I was talking with Catholic Central about at their boys soccer senior night. They were doing a pink game. We had umpires versus cancer back in the summer, and we talked to Jim Dalton, a representative from the local umpire association, as they were raising money for the American Cancer Society and for some of their own who had been affected. So just another great example of all that Section 2 and all the Capital Region does for these great causes. And hey, it's great basketball on top of that out there in the Western Athletic Conference out of Fulton Montgomery. So if you can, head over there. It's going on all day. So you're going to see 5 great games between some of the teams that you're going to see at the end of this thing in Class D as we get going on. So Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Big game last night. Joe Cremo, Scotia native, 18 points as UAlbany beats NJIT. Cremo on his way to being a star. Troy High School graduate Jordan Canzeri, to recap, 17 carries, 140 yards for Iowa as the number 4 team in the college football playoff rankings right now. They beat Nebraska. So Iowa and Canzeri will be on the national stage playing for the Big Ten championship and a chance to eventually play for the national championship. Greenwich High School loses in the Class C state title game to Chenango Forks 42-7. Saratoga in Class AA play for a state title this weekend. Schuylerville in Class B. Armin and Levac back on Monday from 3 to 7, breaking down the NFL. And what am I thankful for over this weekend? I'm thankful for producer Gaz, their producer, because he doesn't know it, but I'm using his headphones right now. We'll see you on next Saturday here at Capital Region Sports Saturday.